Oh, do you lift these big weights?
Yeah, I do. I don't like to. And I was listening to I think last episode or 2 episodes ago, it started off about how Cass doesn't exercise. And 10 years ago, Sean is saying that it's like, okay, this is fine now, but like wait till you get in your 30s, then you're going to have to actually exercise. And then jump cut to 30s, like, okay, maybe later, but no, you just don't.
I mean, is that okay? Like some people just don't have to exercise?
I think it's fine. There's the argument that you might have even said this yourself, but it might have even been something Trump said that like you have a certain amount of fire inside of you and why waste it exercising. And I don't know.
You hear about people dying of heart attacks after going for a long run all the time, and you're just like, I don't know, it's risky, man.
Yeah, a boss of mine, that happened to him, and he was doing it because he was trying to get healthier, and then he died of a heart attack on one of his jogs, like the second week of trying to be healthier.
Oh,
if you feel good though, then keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, trust that.
Because I do it because I feel better when I'm like I'm never going to be The Rock. I'm never even going to be like whatever half The Rock is. But like when I'm feeling
you probably
frail,
are literally half The Rock though.
Half?
I mean,
yeah, maybe. I think if he came in here right now, we'd be shocked how huge he is. I think he would barely fit through that door.
No, I'd be happy to be half though. I'm thinking I'm like maybe a quarter on a good day, like after like lots of protein and stuff. But it just feels better to have like more muscle mass and like picking up a guitar, like not having to be like, oh, my shoulder, like to just grab it, like to have a body that moves stuff. I'd like that. But as far as like getting really, really jacked, I don't know if that's in the cards for me. Maybe if I was like Kumail, like buff Kumail, and I was
just going to say that.
If I was going to be in a Star Wars flick or a Marvel flick, I'm like, well, I've got a trainer and a chef, and this is going to film in a year. I'm going to become buff Kumail now.
I think most people could. I think it helps if you start off as like kind of a little bigger. It would be hard for me to get buff. I would have to first gain a bunch of fucking weight. You know what I mean? And then turn it into muscle along the way. I've never been able to gain a pound in my life.
Oh,
I've
really?
just been the same weight. Like I've just been like 150 pounds since high school.
Have you ever wanted to? Did you ever aspire to be a beefcake sort of looking?
I think I was just, I used to be so self-conscious about my body. You know what I mean? Like in high school and after high school. But like, you know, I'm not anymore. It's weird. Like I'm like, oh man, thank God I was blessed like with a thin build and I don't have to think about that. But I used to really want to gain weight and it was not possible.
Yeah, no one has sympathy for that either.
No.
Zero.
Yeah, exactly. For someone.
He used to be like skinny, but now he's like fit. Thin, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
lean, mean fighting machine.
Absolutely.
We were with our friend the other day, and he's like, "You look ripped. Like, how do you do that?" And
Cass is like, he does nothing.
No, it doesn't do that much. I'm just saying.
No, you're cut though. I've seen shirtless pictures. Looks good.
Yeah. It's from the diet, really. It's from barely eating.
Wait, you're not going to tell Ramin about the ABCs?
Yeah, tell me about your already been chewed gum or whatever that means.
That. You know, my friend was just like, what the abs? And I was just like, it's just that you got to learn the ABCs. Always be clenching. That's all. You know what I mean? It's kind of like similar to someone that has IBS, probably lives by those same principles.
I still don't know what IBS is. I know it's irritable bowel syndrome, but does that mean diarrhea? Does it mean constipation? Is it sometimes one, sometimes the other? Is it gargling in the intestines? Is it all of it?
I think it's all of it.
Oh, that's a rough hand.
Yeah.
But perhaps most of us have it.
I don't know. I think I used to till I started till I got my shit together. I really got my shit together. And God, people fucking hate hearing this, but sometimes they love it. It's emotional, man. It's emotional. It's fucking...
Wait, emotional to not have IBS?
To have IBS.
Oh, of course it is.
It's just like... No, I'm saying like I feel like it's caused by emotions.
Oh, I heard a comic say that they thought that they have a theory that's the reason that men have more bowel problems and intestinal problems than women do on average is because they are more likely to suppress emotion and not deal with it because they've been taught to do that. So it's like manifesting in the gut and all that. I'm like, that 100% makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was always jealous of people who just like live their life loosey-goosey. And I'm like, man, I am in constant stomach pain. And, you know, kind of just like getting into my 30s and discovering meditation, mushrooms, and cannabis fucking changed the game. And then
speaking of which, it's right here.
Yeah, let's spark it up. We started this podcast exactly at 4:20, by the way.
Oh, we did?
Yes, I made sure. I was
those
like
are adorable.
Let's light up one of those adorable joints.
There you go.
Oh, is there Keith on the outside? I love when they do that.
Oh,
Yeah, Keith Richards.
Holy
He doesn't even
I'm gonna
call
smell
himself
it.
Keith, but
awesome.
they're
No.
called fuzzies.
Oh, so when Sean even like will be like, "Oh, I'm not smoking," he like has no appetite, and I'm like, "Oh shit, you really do need to smoke weed."
I know. I hate that, but I love it. You know, I have no appetite if I don't smoke.
Because then it just seems like you're putting like an object of matter inside of teeth and saliva, and just
it's just it brings me back to how my stomach like used to feel in like middle school and shit. You know what I mean? I'm like sitting in front of a meal and everyone's just able to eat, and I'm just like just a little just nervous and like ugh. And pot just fucking it takes care of so many problems in my life that I'm like, why would I ever question this relation? I don't question a relationship at all, but it's helped me a lot with it, with the eating shit and the fucking getting rid of. I never had IBS, but like, you know, I had emotions that were manifesting in stomach issues. And the other night we were tripping with a friend of ours, and I wouldn't have said this if we weren't tripping, but like he's got all kinds of devices and things to always like his back hurts always. So and it's so adorable. He has such a holistic approach and he's doing all these things and I love it. But I was just tripping balls and I'm like, it's emotional. And it just stopped him in his tracks. He's like, it is, you know? And that's what saved me from some back issues. Like I've had times where I could not stand up. And then Cass will read me a thing that says like, okay, well, if your lower back hurts like this, it means this, that, and the other. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it did. You just got to kind of let go of that thought form. It's kind of crazy.
Did it help your friend?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it helped him. But now I'm on the tip. You ever lie on one of those pokey mats?
Lie on a Pokemon mat. What is a Pokemat?
Like it has pokes. It's like these plastic acupuncture pokes. See if I can handle this.
That sounds wonderful.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it just stimulates.
Pokemat.
You stand on it and it feels like a million needles on you, and you lay on it. It feels like a million needles. It doesn't pierce the skin or anything, but it stimulates blood flow.
That would be bad if it did. If you just sink into it like medieval torture machine. You got to try it, but you only can just try it once.
You're just bleeding afterwards.
Yeah. Bleed out.
It felt like we were going to stand up and we were going to be bleeding because you have to lay on it for a half hour to get the effect. And it's just insane. You're laying on pins for a half hour.
Yeah, I've never even done acupuncture, but I want to. I want to try it.
It's worth trying, I would say. I know a lot of people who have like been able to get pregnant after doing it or cleared out some issues. The problem is they give you these Chinese herbs that are like the most disgusting tasting thing ever.
That means they work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah.
I think the problem is it's kind of like going to an acupuncture thing is kind of like meditating once. It's like you probably felt good after it, but really where the rubber meets the road is in doing this every day. And I think if you could afford acupuncture, it's probably one of the better things you could be doing. But I can't be doing something that feels like I need to be doing it habitually, and it costs money. You know?
Yeah, I always felt that way about. This is
therapy.
What was it? Yeah, I think it was therapy. I was stopping myself there because I'm like, I don't want to advocate for that, but
no, that's how I feel about therapy.
Yeah, I might have even said this exact line before. Don't you hate that about getting older? Like you're like, have I said this joke before? I'm like, I just have like 12 jokes. That's it. But that's what it is. Getting older, telling the same stories over. But the thought of going to see a therapist, it felt like I would rather just take out 20s, like take out $5 $20 bills and just stare at them for an hour. That would be a better therapy than going to talk to someone, but not good advice.
Yeah.
Doing the things for you just costs money, it seems like. Yeah, because I was like, coming out to LA, it's so nice being out here because it's like 20 degrees in New York and you come out here and it's like sunny and I can get sun. And I'm like, the first day I was like, well, this is 7 months of therapy in one day.
It's true. It's true. Just that alone, the hit of like, warm weather, just a reminder that things are going to be warm and good and nice again, getting some vitamin D. And then like we had a friend, we went over our friend Ani's house the other day. Shout out to Ani. She'll probably do this podcast this week. But man, she just like saw it, like kind of like you. We're like, are you guys okay? And we're like, what? Not really. I mean, like we're trying, but we're not doing that great. She sensed the same thing. And they just talked to us for like 3 hours. And I was like, oh my, she's better than a therapist, because a therapist they'll fucking raw dog you, dude. They don't care. They will sit there and just listen and just be like, wow, okay, whatever. And I'm like, I have sounding boards. I have plenty of sounding boards in my life. I need advice right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they hesitate to do that, but like our friend Ani doesn't. So
And there's so many, I don't even know all the categories, but I recognize that there's so many types of therapy. There's like Gestalt therapy and behavioral this, and then so it's not all about lying down on the couch and talking about your
that's
dad.
just talk therapy.
Yeah, but still, sometimes the sounding board isn't what you need. And
do you ever like vent for a while and then just feel like, oh man, I just put so many curses out into the universe. Like, why did I just do that? I just had to
Cast
say
some really nasty spells.
Yeah, even if it's someone you trust or if it's on your Patreon or something, you're still like, maybe I should delete that. But no, that's wrong. That's revisionist history. But it's bothering me that I did that. Yet we're not like that with taking it back to the toilet. Like, we're not like that with bodily excretions. We're not like, I can't believe I let that curse out into the world.
That's true.
It is the same thing. It's just like undigestible matter. You know what I mean? Like, that's all your shit is. That's when you're venting to somebody. It's just like, it's the undigestible waste.
They need, I mean, they have these like talk space or like digital robot therapist where they like ask you a set of questions and you just like, I'm never going to write a diary, but I like maybe typing out your problems.
Like an AI that's just responding to you.
Don't you wish you did write out a diary without having to actively write out a diary and relive it? Like, I wish I could think, what was I thinking of on March 2nd, 2017? Oh, that's the kind of day I had? That's what my main problem was? That's my main joy?
Or how many times have I said this joke?
Yeah.
Search the word, whatever, you know?
That's already there in terms of podcasting and the way they're transcribing it automatically and the way deep fakes and deep audio is going. It's nuts. So
soon we're not going to have to do our podcast because we put out so much stuff for the AIs to just be like, cool, we got it. We'll take it from here. And it'll be a lot more interesting.
Yeah, and then we get to just go play.
Yeah.
Then we just get to go like just magic.
We were just talking to Mare about this, about how you think that with the AI and the increases in technology that it would lead to people playing, but it's like the opposite. It's more bleak than ever. I don't know, as far as human labor, and people don't seem to be catching the break that technology is affording.
It's true. We think that the robots taking over the jobs would mean that we are free to play, but then it just means we're at work 24/7 doing a job that didn't exist 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. And but I guess you could make the argument that it's like, well, that's just the destiny of being a life form, at least on 3D Earth, is like the karmic transaction of suffering and value exchange and I don't know.
And now we're in competition with robots for these very scarce jobs.
I was listening to a thing on YouTube. I was like past tripping for a while. Do you ever past trip where like, what did a grocery store look like in the 40s?
I go crazy for this shit, especially when it's just presented. There's no commentary about it or whatever.
Yeah, just raw, like no edited footage, anything. But they were interviewing kids in the early 60s of, what do you think the future will be like? What do you think the year 1984 will be like? And then they like, I think it'll be mostly automation and there won't be any jobs and people will be sitting around not knowing what to do because all the jobs will be done by automation because automation is picking up everything. I think it's because they saw the first calculator machine. Yeah. They're like extrapolating, this is going to be nuts. And then it turns out that what they said happened did come true, but also not, because they didn't anticipate the new things that, like, no one anticipated the internet, no one anticipated social media on top of the internet, no one anticipated all this crypto stuff that no one understands. Just there's people that have dug more and then can articulate it. But when you try to get like, but what are you actually describing here? It's like, I don't know.
Oh, I know.
It's the blockchain. I don't know.
You know, it's the blockchain, brother. And I keep saying like everything I learn about crypto or NFTs makes me think I understand it less. It's a very weird thing. The more I know, the less I feel like I know about it.
Exactly.
You know, like I think I have a grasp of NFTs, and then someone will be like, your house is going to be an NFT. Your car is going to be an NFT. And I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? What do you mean? But Cass found a great tweet the other day describing NFTs as everyone's fucking your wife, but you have the marriage certificate. That's it.
Did you see the new South Park movie about it?
Yeah. Wait. Yeah. We saw
not about it, but there's a part where Butters basically is selling NFTs.
Oh my God.
He's like in some high security thing. Yeah. And then they like don't listen to him, and he somehow. Yeah. Oh my God. It's hilarious.
Yeah, they did a great job of roasting it, but also having characters voice the positives of it. Because, like some of our friends, Colin Frangisetto's into it.
Yeah.
Noah's into it. Not like he's not making NFTs, but he's deep into that space.
Yes.
He's the H.G. Wells 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yeah.
Or whoever wrote that. Arthur C. Clarke. Which one of those old fucks that's dead wrote that?
I think you got it.
H.G. Wells starts like official like author that I wish I had read more of, but then
It's a good one to name drop.
yeah, wouldn't it be nice to just read for a while, like to be forced to like you have to just read for a year.
Yeah.
I know I'm describing prison.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Well, it's why I can be so loosey-goosey about our life is because I'm like, whatever, if we get caught doing any of the many illegal things we do all the time, like, it'll give me some time to read. I'll have so much to talk about on this
Knock
podcast.
on wood, Jesus
I
Christ.
will have so much to talk
if
about
they
on
ever
this
let you
podcast.
out.
Come on, for what? For not paying a little rent? Come on. For polyamory or whatever you want to call this, bordering on polygamy.
I'm not gonna be. I won't judge if Cass sells you out. Like when it's like,
man.
well, we can either take you both in, or we can give you a what is it called, a sweetheart deal or something.
Well, I wonder because I feel like that is the make or break moment in any couple. And we had a guy on this podcast that he just did 12 years in federal prison. This guy Matt Cox, and he is of the impression that anyone would turn on anyone if you're faced with losing your freedom.
Yeah.
And I was like,
we'd eat each other. Like at
Well,
the
yeah.
baseline of
Yeah.
all of it, like we're capable of eating each other.
yeah, that's true. That's
like,
true.
I don't think I would.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah, if we're capable of eating each other, of course we're capable of snitching on each other. Like,
Yeah.
My problem is I'm so gullible. So if they said like, Sean is more likely to get out or be free if you tell on him or something like that, I might believe it, and that's where my downfall would be because I'm not like super savvy.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, they're saying nice things,
She's liable to fold under pressure, and I understand. I understand what I'm involved with here.
It's a good dynamic because you're likely to push back even if there is no pressure. It's like, fuck you, I'm not about that. I'm not going to do any of that. You can go fuck yourself. No, I just wanted to give you this free coffee.
Totally.
Oh, thank you. Just the edge. You've never. I didn't know you before that, but like the edge that you described the past you as having.
Yeah.
None of the psychedelics, meditations, or all this stuff we talk about in the little alien spaceship with rainbows everywhere. It's just none of that ever takes away your edge.
No, it can't go away for some reason. Like as we came in here, Cass is like, you should see the email we just got from the people we had a meeting with on Monday. And this meeting was basically like it was all fine and dandy till it came to like, okay, let's get down to business. And I was just like, here's how much it costs to work with us, and y'all are pussies for not doing it. And your company's an embarrassment because you've never made a movie and you're calling yourself a company. These lunches are nice, but we all have real friends out in the world that we need to get back to and go do things. You're either going to invest in us or you're not. Like, let's get this going. And they write back a little sassy, like a little whatever, but that's the cost of doing business with a real artist. I feel like, I'm a wily motherfucker. I don't know where it comes from, but
Yeah, it sounds like that bridge is burned unless this part gets edited out.
No, I don't give a fuck. I was saying it to their face. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so if I didn't burn the bridge right there, I don't know. But I don't think so. I think that weirdly, sometimes this doesn't work, but Cass has kind of seen it. It's probably 50-50. Sometimes I let people fully know who I am and they come towards us, and sometimes they go away from us. Yeah.
It's a good test because otherwise it would be revealed later and you just couldn't live with it.
I know. Well, exactly. It all comes out in the wash ultimately. So you might as well just show them up front. But I've probably blown some really decent. I remember once MailChimp was about to fund a project for us, and I got on the I got on the phone with them, and I was like, "No bullshit here," and they just kind of sensed what kind of guy I was going to be, and they were like, "We're good."
Man, you've scared off so many big names and brands, and it's making me think you can't help but think about yourself, but or maybe that's just narcissism here. But I'm like, what is the biggest brand that's reached out to me? And I'm thinking K-Swiss, and then they didn't anymore after I volunteered. I don't think I've been involved in big brands yet, even for anything.
I feel like you'll get there if you want. The thing we do so applies to their world, and because it's basically they need me to I know how to go out and essentialize humanity, and they're soulless, and they're like, can you offer that to our product? And go, we're really good at casting. So they're like, go pluck some people that will make our product seem authentic and genuine and not nameless, faceless disgustingness. So, we do it for the right price, but I feel like it puts us in a karmic predicament that I'm not so psyched about moving ahead, and I want to align us more.
What if you split your personality, and then it doesn't have to be Very Ape Productions doing it. It doesn't have to be Sean and Cass doing it. You make up a new persona. You put on different glasses. You do your hair a little differently, and then I'm this psychopath that's doing the business.
I think that might actually be necessary, because right now, like, we have sales reps out there. They're like, they just fish around for work, and they'll bring stuff our way or whatever. And when we hired these people, they were basically like, you're going to have a hard time. Like, you have the best reel of anyone we represent, but, like, you're a straight white guy. Mm. And they weren't being dicks, but they were just kind of being the bearers of, like, a truthful, terrible news. You know what I mean? And I think that this culturally, I think this moment will pass, and, talented people will ultimately always rise to the top. But you don't need to be that talented to direct a commercial. And they're like, we want to check the culturally appropriate box. Yeah. You know what I mean? So they're like, just telling me, like, we straight up, when we get boards for a job, like, they also come along with, the gender and, the sexual preferences of who the director should be. And I'm like, this is so weird. I don't know if I want to go towards that. But if I do, I might have to say I'm transitioning or something. Or like, it was so funny because Cass is scrambling to figure out how we're queer, and she's turning the camera to Mare. She's like, Mare's our girlfriend, so we're in a throuple, and just giving them anything to work with. It was
kind of funny,
and then like Mare's like saying hi, and they're like, okay.
I don't know
like,
if that helps us or hurts
duly
us.
Noted.
Yeah, but it makes it half though, just because you're there, it only makes it half queer.
Well, I just feel like it makes me doubly straight. If anything, it might hurt me.
Oh, that's true. Your double straightness takes away from the queerness, and it just goes back to zero.
Yeah, exactly.
You got 1 point here, but you got a negative one here.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you'll always be fine, and not just fine, but even better than fine. But you won't be able to work within the structure.
Yeah, I don't want to. So it's fine. I think
you already worked at the History Channel.
I already did my time in the mainstream. So I'm surprised. I'm surprised someone hasn't come to try to commodify what you do. They will. Have you ever had this, like, straight up getting ripped off?
Like how?
You're a concept or wording or a style.
Oh yeah, I mean, like the company Shiet in China, they sell lots of stuff on phone cases and things.
But your stuff.
Yeah, and not like ripped off, like, hey, that's kind of similar, like the actual image with the name taken away. Wow. And then there's no way to contact them to take it down or anything.
Right.
There's nothing anyone can do about it.
No recourse, yeah, I see.
And then you see that you, like, well, I could spend all day trying to get this removed, or I can worry about what I'm getting. And then you have to adopt the mentality as long as I'm getting my slice, even if someone is getting a way bigger slice, I can't think about equalizing the whole thing. I am the artist that owns the work. It's the future now, and it's always been the future, and it's always getting future-ier and future-ier and stranger and melting into other stuff. And I'm just lucky to be here, I guess.
Absolutely, man. I think that's the exact right attitude.
Well, and you're in a world that can continue to evolve. Like, we were just talking about maybe getting you into the NFT space.
Yeah, and I hate calling it the space, and I hate when we all do. It's like the word God or spiritual or anything. Yeah, like, I'm really excited to be in the space. I've got I've got an exciting project dropping in 3 days. It just, you hate it. When you read people doing it, it just makes the hate circle a part of you. And that's maybe just an outsider perspective. And it does seem, creating artificial scarcity seems wrong. So I don't want to do a cash grab thing, but I also don't want to pretend like that space doesn't exist until we're just living in it, like happened with social media. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to have a regular website. I'm not even going to use Squarespace or anything, just a website from 1998. And then no one's coming to your door anymore.
It ultimately is the joke's on us if we keep digging in our heels. Like, this is the way it was, and this is what got me by so far. But, like, I think we got to step into fuck all these fungible things you're making. We got to make them non-fungible or whatever the fuck.
I feel like for you, I don't know. I think it's about shifting the perspective to, like, oh, this is like someone gets a fancy receipt for saying I support Ramin as an artist, because he's creating art that we can all see and benefit from. But if I spend this amount of money, I'm like helping making it possible. Like, I'm now a producer of your art.
I was just going to say there's probably a thought hack we could do that could help us all, because I think we all struggle with the same thing, like a modesty almost. It doesn't sound like compared to what I was saying, but that's when I go to corporate meetings. I'm not modest. But in our art, I'm very modest. We've never made money on any of our films because of it. They're all free. We don't submit to film festivals. I'm too modest.
I always forget that. I know that, but I forget that that's the thing, because you see it so many other places. I'm like, yeah, they probably put ads on it. I'm like, wait a minute. No, they didn't.
No.
They didn't put ads on any of those, and it's all free on Vimeo. And
But there's probably a way that we could think about the new space that we're all entering and not feel so weird about entering it. You know what I mean?
And being excited about it, and the drops that we're going to have dropped
exactly.
in the space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea of, I mean, I don't have the money. I mean, I guess I could have, I'm sure you can get affordable NFTs, but, to be like, oh, here's all the artists I support. This is my digital wallpaper of, I don't know. It seems,
I think it's just where we want to be karmically aligned, and it's what we already do, but now we'll have like a blockchain receipt for it. It's what we already are doing. It's what, our whole community already does. And
and you can tie it to a physical thing too, or a ticket to somewhere, or access to things. It doesn't have to be the main part of it. You can be like, I'm selling you this physical object that comes with the non-fungible token. That is. Yeah. And then it is easy to think that, well, it's all gonna, what if it goes away? What if there's a EMP shockwave or a solar flare and the grid gets wiped out? But then isn't everything gone then?
Yeah, we have worse problems.
You got worse problems than more being like, my fucking NFT portfolio. What the hell?
We used to think about that with the movies, like, oh, our whole career's gone if
the internet goes down, or if somebody fucks with us for some reason.
Vimeo resets or something.
But it's why I've encouraged, like, almost what's happened to you naturally. I'm like, once we put these out, I encourage everyone to pirate them, do whatever the fuck you gotta do to spread these around. I don't care if you host it on your thing. It doesn't matter where it's hosted. I don't give a fuck. Just get these fucking things out there. Go have at it. So, I think with the NFT thing, I think what we could do that could be really fun is make it a community thing, and just like the Church of Chill puts out mints an NFT like once or twice a month, and it's through different artists, and we split the money with them, and our half of it goes to trying to build a physical space that we could all party at. That's basically what we're after now. Is like, how do we make the Church of Chill a physical thing? I think it's why we're getting kicked out of our apartment, is because I feel like the universe is compelling us to like do it a little bit bigger, because we can't host people right now. Yeah. We can only do it in small amounts. And I'm like, maybe we could get to a place where we could host people, and maybe we could fund that through NFTs. And, I don't know.
Yeah. What is your next ambition?
Next ambition? Figure out a way to join that space and not be cringe, or perhaps let go of the idea that cringe is bad. Perhaps maybe the bad thing is being cringe a lot, and keep going down the bad path of that. But it's okay to do a couple of cringe things here and there. But I don't know. I haven't thought of. All my ambitions are so little at this point. Like, they're like, oh, we're going to get a new washer dryer. I'm like, what if I got 3 more storage cubes for there? And then I could store stuff in the cubes. Yeah. And it's very little thinking about the, like, how do I build the empire of me? Yeah. Because I feel like I'm good at games and good at stuff when I want to focus on it. And I've never truly focused on just raking in cash. Mm-hmm. And I've also never been as pure as y'all. I'm like somewhere in between the pure and I got to keep the lights on, and also a little bit to keep the lights on for next month in the case that something bad happens. But beyond this month's lights on and next month's lights on, it's pretty much like, what about the month after that? That's going to be pretty scary. And then that serves as motivation to, okay, I got to do some magic here. The magic spell will be, I will conjure up an image for the chic slate tablet that is in the hands of millions. And then by summoning that, it will summon this, which will direct that energy to that. But as far as the ambitions in the space, it doesn't look fun yet, and I want to make it fun. Yeah. Well, if anyone's going to be able to do that. Imagine if Instagram, the NFT thing, was just the interface of Instagram, and then you could place a bid on that image if you liked it, and then it would secure that as it, and maybe you'd get a print of it too. Or that's cool.
Oh, it lives on your Instagram page, like an Instagram account that's all NFTs. It's like there's a feed, but no one can host it to their own individual profile unless it's their NFT. So your Instagram profile ends up being the art that you think is worth supporting.
Yeah, like imagine if attention truly was currency, because right now they say attention is currency, but there's also actual currency, and your landlord doesn't take attention, so you do have to use that magic to you can convert attention into currency, but it is not currency in itself. So imagine if you imagine if our likes did have value. And that you couldn't game the system either, so that you couldn't make bots that just send you the likes, but like you truly. If something you did truly did impact 100,000 people, then you would feel that impact, and it would support the lights on. But then again, how do the lights stay on? Someone could make the argument of like, well, that's not how the world works. It's about suffering, and it's like in Succession. What does he say? Life isn't about love. Life is a number on a piece of paper. Life is a fight for a knife in the mud.
Wow. That's great writing. I've never seen that show. That's incredible writing.
It's the best writing. It's fucking Shakespeare. You got to watch Succession.
Oh, I'm psyched that this many people love it and have recommended it, and there's like 3 seasons we haven't seen. So I'm like, I'm psyched that we get to just dive in all at once.
It's billionaires that are not good people, but so likable because their rawness and their uniqueness and the way the writing is. You're like, I love all these billionaires, but they're not good people. That's problematic. Yeah, of course, very gross, problematic people, but not in the way that you're imagining, because you're probably imagining like Trump family or something. But it's like in a truly likable way. Because when I think about all those characters, I'm like, I'm so glad.
This sounds like propaganda.
I am propaganda.
No, but like if someone told you like, oh, this was the show that's like partly happened in collaboration with, I don't know, the U.S. government or I don't know, just some factor that was like, you know what, we need to create a show that
starts to garner some
support
sympathy
for the mass wealth inequality we have in our country, and kind of just make people like, just make sure there's not a class war.
Yeah, it could be.
And it's not necessarily even a bad thing. Like, I don't know.
I have no way of knowing whether that is or not, but surely an argument can be made. It doesn't smell like that as much as it does like in a Marvel movie or something, which I love the Marvel movies, but that's clearly funded by whatever, the military or China or what. There's some agenda at play to make something painted as
the Jack Ryan show that like that's like trying to depict Venezuela as a nuclear threat to us, and like it's just like the CIA wrote this. Like
there's some crazy stuff like that, and I don't even think it's bad to have compassionate views of billionaires or anything. I don't think it changes you thinking that maybe that's not the way things should go.
Well, I was listening to this guy. I was trying to do a deep dive today on this guy, David Hawkins. Have you ever looked into his work?
No.
He's most famous for mapping consciousness. Like he
did it. Holy shit!
Yeah, he did it.
I thought we had no clue.
he's done a really nice job at it. It's kind of fucking crazy. But like it's a scale of 0 to 1,000, and he talks about like, all of the benchmarks of that would lead between them all. And
so we're rating it on a, sorry to interrupt, but rating it on a scale of like 0 would be like you have the choice of 0 or 1. That's like base level consciousness. You are a decision maker of these 2 choices, and that's the limit of it. And then it builds upon that to where this content, we have like our reptile brain and a prefrontal cortex, and like I'm thinking about what am I going to do for dinner later, and all of this at the same time.
Well, just basically like just logging like here's what the emotional, here's what the field is like at the lowest level. Here's what the field is like here's the qualities of the field at this level and the qualities at this level, and it's like you look through it, and 1,000 being the highest, you look through it and you're like, I've had moments at 650, you know what I mean? And it's just it's the perception of the world. It's the way you're looking at things. It's the feelings you're having about things. And actually, when I think about it, the scale is to ascension, because the top one, 1,000, is God mode basically. It's like
so you're everything at 1,000.
Yeah, you're everything.
It's kind of nice because I've been feeling some of the feels in the lower level, and it's kind of nice of just being like, all right, I'm just, because you take yourself a little less seriously when you're like, oh, I'm not so high in this consciousness map. you can kind of be like, all right, let me not invest further in the hate or humiliation.
Well, when you look at it as a scale and you see like, oh, hatred and humiliation is like down here. It's just like some of the lowest things. And this guy's done studies where
is that the lowest level of hell, or what do we have?
The lowest level is
IBS?
humiliation. IBS. You know, like you have IBS in front of, while you're giving a speech.
Can we show it to Ramin?
Yeah, show
and then we
it.
can even put
IBS.
it on the...
Yeah, this is me giving a speech at a wedding. And
I'm getting IBS. That becomes your most successful film. We should put ads on that.
Here you go. We can even...
We'll flash
put
this
it
up on the
somewhere.
screen. Remember 35
Jamie,
minutes.
zoom in. That's funny culturally that everyone knows what that means.
Yeah, I know.
Jamie do blank.
Yeah.
Most people.
It's crazy.
It's crazy that Joe Rogan is the Trump of today in terms of every day the trending topics. What people are talking about is something to do with Joe Rogan.
Yeah. It's sad. It's a perfect distraction.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
Perfect
consequences
distraction.
of building your own empire.
Yeah. Well, part of this and part of like seeing this scale of consciousness, not only like to kind of like see how you're doing and avoid it, but also like humanity is also following this, you know? And so right now we're probably like between 200 and 250.
Right now?
Yeah. Just
like as you're talking to
as
me
a
right now?
species, you know what I mean?
Species.
And back in Jesus' day, we were around like 150, and it's just a much more violent time. It might seem crazy, but we've come a long way in terms of that stuff.
We totally have. Just look at the torture devices.
Yeah.
And I know there's still waterboarding and stuff like that, but I think in general it was way rougher.
Yeah, but like when you think about it and when you consider that, doesn't that help you like forgive our current predicament a little bit? You're like, we're getting better. We're doing better. Our torture devices have gotten a lot better. You know?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
we're not nailing anyone to a cross.
I'm not even mad at our current predicament.
No, that's not that bad.
Yeah, no, I don't. I just virtue signal sometimes. Like, can you believe these stupid whatevers? But deep down, I'm not mad at any figure that's Martin Shkreli or Trump or anyone.
So you should see where you are on there. You're probably like in the 650 realm, man.
Really?
Like, you're pretty high up. If you can't,
Definitely.
If you can't be pushed into outrage, I think you're pretty high up there, man. I think you're.
Oh, I'll have outrage, but just not at the news, like at assembling a piece of furniture or why I don't want to have energy now. I want to focus on this. Why am I tired again? I drank an energy drink and it didn't work, and I drank the coffee and it didn't work. These are bad examples. Don't blame energy drinks or coffee. They are good, but sometimes you do need a nap, and you can't just energy drink yourself through stuff. So. But I'll have that kind of outrage, but not like, oh, can you believe what these Democrats or these Republicans are doing, or these libertarians are doing, or these these podcasters that think that they stand outside of politics to not engage in politics is to contribute to injustice. If you're not contributing to the elimination of injustice,
it's a low frequency conversation that if you can when you start to pick up.
It went to text now.
Oh, whatever. When you start to pick up on how low frequency the conversation is, you all you have to do is have the intention to not be in that conversation anymore, and everything will start to align to that. And one of the cool things he was saying, and I wish I could speak to it better, but like look into this dude's work, is like you can raise the consciousness of something by imbuing it with goodness. Like it's kind of crazy. Like you can sit there and be like, a gerbil could be like at a 50. But you could sit there and be like, I love it so much. It's so cute. Do you see how cute this thing is making our environment right now? And you could raise that from like 50 to 150, and this is measurable. And this is where it comes in, the stuff that people will maybe take issue with. He's done all this by kinesthesiology.
What's that?
Muscle testing. Have you ever heard of that?
You give a shock so that the muscle.
No, you should talk to Shane about this too. I would eat up an episode of you guys talking about this, but it's muscle testing. You put your arm out and you ask a question, and then you have somebody push your arm with two fingers. And
do you love me? I don't know.
So, and if it goes down, it would be like if it doesn't go anywhere, it's true. If it does, it's false. It's very simple. So,
But you make sure to not tell them before you do that, right? Because otherwise, aren't they going to just like...
Sometimes you can't really control it. Like, it's kind of crazy because we've both had this done. And you really can't control it. So it's a very strange phenomenon.
It doesn't seem true, but I'm willing to try that. But it seems like you can, like, I'm a blue banana right now, and then it's like I'm lying my ass off right now. I have $100 billion, and I made it by being a blue banana.
Yeah.
But I'm not a blue banana.
Wait, we should probably pull out. I'm not saying this minute, but if you can muscle test yourself and kind of what's
you can,
yeah.
you know, but you know, so he pulled all this information down through muscle testing, and you watch this guy's lectures, and he'll have a woman on stage, and he'll be in the middle of a thing, and he'll say, you know, do people have guardian angels? Is that true? And he'll say resist, and he'll push her arm, and it won't go anywhere, and he'll say, it is true, and then he'll go, you know, he'll go into how it is, and I mean, this guy, he's like a PhD, very well respected dude. You know, he mapped fucking consciousness in a really dope way, and yeah, like he was just blowing my mind today about basically just aligning yourself with your highest intentions, and that's all you have to do. You do not have to fucking kick and scream like nails on a chalkboard through this fucking life trying to get what you want. You really just have to align yourself with it, and I think we've seen this. I've seen it with my own life, you know what I mean? I was a fucking nerd who was self-conscious about his body, and then jokingly kind of started being like, I'm a sex icon, actually. Let me flip the script. And look at my life, you know?
You did it.
Yeah.
What age? Like 15?
No, 35.
35 you flipped it?
Yeah.
I remember you telling some story of like you got interested in girls like at 15 and then you stopped caring about everything else.
Well, I stopped playing baseball and started
baseball.
dating my neighbors.
And, but you were still the nerd then, though. You still felt like you were the nerd.
I still felt like, that helped a lot. I don't know when you got your first girlfriend, but it probably helped a lot.
38.
Oh, wow. You haven't got it yet?
No, let's see, 20, I think 20, 21.
Yeah, it probably felt like a big relief. It's hard to bring myself back to that time, but it felt like the biggest relief of my life.
Yeah, my first boyfriend, definitely.
Right?
Because I remember just like being like, I'm so lonely, like, you know, at 16 or whatever, and then you get the boyfriend. And
yeah.
It was. I think it was mixed for me. Now looking back on it, like it was. Maybe that's with everything. There's always like a little bit. I think with it was more of a relief with alcohol. Like I was wondering what alcohol was, and then finally when I understood, like, oh, that's what getting drunk is. Or,
that was a
something
big
like
moment
that.
for me
even
too.
though I felt terrible.
Yeah.
So I will say, even with any of the drama that came with the first relationship, it's still the mix of the relief even in the turmoil.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Not to go back to kinesiology, but whatever. I'm going to go back to it because I just want to say
I like it.
I think there is a reason that it works. Like, because I haven't been watching these videos with Sean, but it makes sense to me that it's a way of communicating with like this. Let's just call it God, the thing that connects us all, without like the monkey mind interfering. And so you're asking like on a cellular level a question that the mind can't fully process or control,
but your body can intuit.
Yeah, it's kind of like a lie detector test.
Yeah, because the body came before the brain in terms of, we've been talking about, me and Shane have, like, life forms. Like, so many things were there before the brain became a thing. Like, the sex existed before brains did. So it's a very powerful force of nature. So, like, your body has an intelligence. It's not just intelligence here, and then this is dumb, like, bullshit. It's all of it has an intelligence in it.
Wow.
And don't they have, like, this is probably total bullshit, but who cares? I'm not on, or even if I was on a science podcast, it doesn't matter if it's bullshit, but I think there's neurons in your heart and in your gut. It's not just in your
I know there's
brain.
serotonin receptors in your gut.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. But I remember something with heart neurons or something. So you actually do have a heart intelligence and a gut intelligence.
Wow.
Definitely feels like it. Like when you tap into that, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Cass used the kinesthesiologist for years. I used them, and it's the way that I saw this guy doing it during a lecture I've never seen before. Like literally asking a question and using this woman as like a conduit to spirit and you know. But when we've had it done, they're not asking you questions. You're laying on a table and your arms up, and he's putting things around your head and just seeing if your body wants it or if it doesn't.
Yeah, like the first time I did it, he was like, and I had been eating all the things he told me to chill on. Like he wouldn't know. He said olives and lemons. Or so I was eating a lot of olives. I was having like Kalamata olives in the fridge. And then every morning I was drinking a whole big glass of lemon water. Like every morning. And he's like, you need to chill on those two things. I'm like, what the fuck?
And same thing. I only went once, but I hadn't really been eating oranges for years. And then we had a box of oranges, and I was enjoying for 3-4 nights in a row, every night, just having an orange at the end of the day. And that's the only thing he said to me. He was like, you shouldn't eat oranges.
Damn.
Like, what?
I think that really influenced me to like eat everything in moderation. Like, because I used to think, the only thing that's healthy are sweet potatoes, so I'm only going to eat sweet potatoes, and then I think that can get you out of whack.
Yeah. Yeah.
But by the end of it, I didn't stop believing in it, but I felt that his monkey mind had gotten in the way, where I was just on these supplements and there was no path for me getting off. It was just what do you call it? Maintenance. I was on a maintenance thing.
Which supplements?
Like
That's a good sign right there.
Everything.
I don't even know, like
the most expensive
reishi
shit.
and camu and like all these things, but it was like a few $100s a month, and I was like, I just can't keep this up. Like I can't.
I believed in the practice, but the racket part of it was left such a bad taste that I made her reconsider. And so instead I just healed it.
That's where that's where there's human influence in can distort things.
And, how did you end up being healed?
You.
Right?
You're telling me I was healthy.
Just me saying you're healthy. And it wasn't me saying it. I was literally had my hands on your body. And I was just like, just doing the thing. I was just like intuiting. And I was like, you know what? You're actually fine. Because I wanted to tell you, here's what you need to do, Cass. But there was nothing to say. It was just like, you're actually healed. Like, you think you're sick.
Yeah,
and
you
you're like,
just
really?
need to let your body heal.
Maybe you needed to go on that path. Like you probably took one supplement because you wanted to improve one thing, and then it did help you feel better, and you're like, oh, maybe this one will help with this other thing, and then before you know it, you're taking $200 worth of pills every month, but the journey is complete, and then you're like, what if I just took 0 instead of even tapering it off? What if I just took none of them?
And nothing changed. She's fine.
The journey was done.
The journey was done.
Maybe you did get something out of it, but like you don't need to listen to those records anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, hold on. Put your arm out. Is the journey done? Yeah.
Ooh.
We should learn how to actually muscle test each other.
I mean, it's not that much more.
Oh, it's a specific part?
Yeah. It's just like a 2-finger thing. Like, you can only push someone so hard with 2 fingers. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It starts to sound crazy when I'm sitting here getting high talking about it, but like, look into this dude, man. Dr.
There's
David
a lot
Hawkins.
of real stuff like that. There's, of course, probably way more grifters and people faking it, but there's so much real, like channeling. Acupuncture is a real thing. Like you can put a pin in the middle of your toes and then it fixes your neck. Like there's so much weird.
Reflexology, just like these weird, like little mysterious phenomenon that science can't yet explain. Maybe one day they'll be able to, but I love that there's a whole field of stuff that's happening that like we can't yet grasp, but some people through fucking crazy downloads we can't explain are able to map some of this stuff. It's crazy.
Do you like the time loops thing with, or it's not a thing, it's a book. Eric Wargo, have you ever heard of him?
I don't know.
Michael Phillip is big into him. I think Noah may be into him. No, maybe not. Noah's a higher level than that. But the whole
people are into Noah.
Yeah,
he's not into people.
he was into Neville Goddard for a while, but Noah moves through phases. He's super into a thing, and when he's into that thing, it's all about that, and it's always changing, and that's why he's such an interesting guy to.
It's why we didn't fucking buy crypto when he first told us 8 years ago. But it was a mistake on our part. But yeah, anyway, who is this guy?
Oh, but basically he talks about time being a full circle. We've all heard that time is a flat circle thing, but you get messages from the future in your dreams, and it's kind of a mix of woo-woo, but like very science practical oriented, even to the point where he thinks that people that remote view stuff in a different room, like where they write a number on a whiteboard and then someone remote views and they can see the number in the board. The way he maps it out is that you didn't actually remote view, but you have a memory from the future of when the results were revealed from you. So it's like you already have your whole life in your being, so you do get messages from your future self, and everything you're doing, you are doing the right thing in that part of the movie, but it's you can't have a full connection to it, because then the movie would be spoiled if you were directly talking to future you. But you get little nudges.
We couldn't live if the veil wasn't pulled over our eyes.
Exactly.
We couldn't keep doing it, you know. It would take a lot of will, and it's interesting because we just recorded a podcast today where I talked about when you really slow down, or when you really take a bunch of mushrooms or whatever, or you're in a deep meditation, how you can feel but just in terms of human evolution, you can feel I could feel being a caveman, and I can feel achieving my alienhood and everything in between. Like I possess all that right now. And that fucking trips me out a little bit. And that I can feel into that and I can relate with the aliens because I'm like, that's just a further evolution of us. And if time's not real, like, yeah, you take some substance that pops you out of your projection of what you think time is, and yeah, you could tap into that shit.
Yeah, time is the first thing that goes. And
Yes.
then now that we're in it, it's impossible to, like we were talking, I think, before the recording, when stuff's going good in the relationships, I can't imagine we could ever fight.
Yeah.
When it's going bad, I can't imagine we could ever get not fighting.
Yeah, gosh.
But yeah, when you're in time, it's like, no, there's no such thing as time stopping. That's just the oxytocin in your brain going off to produce a serotonin reaction that gives the perception of time not moving. But if you were to time it with a watch, you would see clearly the time does move forward. But
Have you had any experiences of extreme time distortion?
oh yeah, but let's see, the best way to describe them, other than there's the minimal level one of like you haven't looked at the clock in who knows how long, and you're like, I bet it's 8.
Yeah.
And then you look and it's 2.
Yeah.
2, not AM but PM and stuff like that. But major jumps, I remember one time I jumped from being like a 10-year-old me into 2014 me, which was still very futuristic because we were still rocking this in 2014. We all pretty much had smartphones. Flip phone was a strange thing to have, so it's kind of weird that we thought at that rate, it's like, oh, we went from flip phones to smartphones. Who knows? We're probably going to be in VR by 2018. But it doesn't play out like that. We're in 2022 and it's still this. But the point of that was I went from age 10 to 2014 and was just blown away by the little icons.
Wait, when did you do this?
Yeah, you got to give us a little.
Oh,
bit more.
in 2014 with in a mushroom state.
Oh, so you experienced what it was like being 10 years old?
I was 10, and then I jumped back into now as a 10-year-old.
Oh,
like,
whoa.
so where this like blew my mind. And it's not that I was like, what are these? But it was, I couldn't believe that I was on a landline, and then I just was holding this, and that I no longer lived at home, and I was a person with a car and a bank account, and like I was a full adult me. I'm like, this is future. Like I am in future. Future is me. And then it like kind of melts back into like you start remembering. So then the effect goes. But the jump was very distinct of like, that's nuts.
And maybe the jump is just made of like a kind of like an amnesia effect of all the in between. So you have this data point of you being 10, and then this data point of now, and it feels like fucking insane. Yeah. Because all the middle data points are gone, and then you're saying the remembering kind of are those coming back a little bit.
Yeah. As it transpires, then it feels that way. But like the first like 10 seconds, it just feels like a leap. And actually, the first time that happened was my first trip ever, and my friend told me like, "Hey, try this out. Close your eyes. You're 8 years old right now." And then, like, I was for just a few seconds, like, walking around in the snow. I'm back at Canada, and then, like, I popped back. He's like, "Wasn't that nuts?"
Oh,
and,
dude.
Was that Devin who did that to you?
No, I didn't know Devin back then. This was back in 2006 or something. So before, which I did meet Devin in 2010 maybe, or 2011, but I didn't know that I did. And then I met him later, I think through y'all. Yeah. And then
well, he told us to hit you up when we came out here the first time.
Oh, that's how it all comes full circle.
Yeah.
So I'd forgot that the wizard him was that other guy that I'd met.
Who could put 2 and 2 together? I mean, he's going by a different name. He looks like a completely different person. His name's
Is he doing
Devin
okay? Because he busted his leg. I think we talked about it last time too.
Yeah. Femur or something.
Yeah, Devin's doing great.
He healed really fast.
He healed fast, and he's not taking those wizard pills anymore. He used to take something for his knee that turned all his hair white and everything.
Oh, so it's going back?
So yeah, he's
becoming
turning into the dark wizard.
Oh, cool.
But slowly, it's very cool.
It is pretty cool.
Damn, the black.
But
and
he's
then he'll rejoin later. Then
Yes.
he'll go naturally white.
Yeah.
But he got to preview it. He got to jump to his old self for a little bit.
It's very powerful.
He's a powerful time hopper, and he's the type of dude. He's so fun to trip with if you're playful like that. Like, hey, let's have fun. Let's try to go back to when you're 8 years. We've worked with hypnosis. We've we've done every fucking weird experiment you could do with Devin. He's really fun to trip with.
That's powerful that your friend was able to like bring you to 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it makes me think like, what the fuck? I need to play with hypnosis more often. There's some cool space to explore.
Yeah,
I've never gotten super into it. It's happened before, but I've never. Maybe because it involves so much patience. But I hypnotized with a YouTube video once, and where they're like, now you can no longer lift your arms, and then I'm like, oh, I can't. I'm in the deep trance. It was a safe one. It wasn't a fuck with you type of one.
Oh my God. That makes me so nervous. You know, that's cool though.
But there's the part of your head still in the back there, even when you find yourself completely still and you can't move a muscle. Like there's still part of you. It's like, yeah, but I probably could though.
Yeah.
But I can't. So it's all about convincing you that you're doing it. So no one's dominating you. It's like convincing you to get in the susceptive state of
receptive. Yeah. Because Devin always said like it's consensual, and that's kind of like you think you have to consent to this. You have to allow yourself to go there. You had to allow yourself to become that 8-year-old boy. You know, so. And
you have to allow yourself to become whatever it is your final form is, you know, and
Buff Kumail.
Yeah, yes, exactly. But like, kind of what this doctor I'm listening to is saying is just like similar to Neville Goddard. It's like just kind of go there, and you will go there. You know what I mean? If that's the intention of your life, it's gonna fucking work out. It's gonna go there. Very. Yeah, really interesting. I could go on and on about that dude. Like he blew me away today. You know.
When did you get into him and how?
Today.
This is the first day?
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if you'll still be into it in a week.
Oh yeah, but either way, well, no, who knows? Probably not. I forget who these people are. You know what I mean? It just comes up in my periphery, and then I do a little research, and then I'm pretty good about like if I just listen to something today, I can get it across, but like it'll fade away.
But it's like trying to remember every restaurant you eat at. If you're on the road and you're not cooking at home, and every day you go to a new place and you're still like, maybe you enjoy every meal, but it's like, what was the name of the speaker that you loved 2 weeks ago that taught you about the thing that you don't even remember the name of?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It was the vitamin that there was a supplement that I needed then.
Yeah, I needed this guy to wake me up to something and wake me up to that. It's on me in a lot of ways, you know, and I can curse my future and tell terrible tales and cast awful spells about it, or I can do basically what I did when I was 16 with filmmaking. It's just like, I'm gonna be a fucking director. I am a director, and it takes another 10, 11 years before I ever do anything about it. And then, you know, 20 years later, like it's fucking crazy. It's crazy. I'm doing it, and it's a hard thing to do. You know, getting recognized as making films is so hard. It's like it's such a expensive and hard, and you have to know someone, and I don't know anyone, and like just all this shit, and I'm able to do it. So I've seen it pay off in my life. So to just have this guy come along and give me a little reminder when I'm at a place where I'm a little less confident, and so it just reminds me, just like, be fully confident about it, just be headstrong and go towards it, and there's really nothing you can do to fuck it up. There's nothing you can do to fuck your life up. It's just it's playing out. There's a pattern playing out, and I think that's why it's on the higher end of the scale, like when you kind of just become the witness, and beyond the witness, just the isness, you know, and that's all Jesus was doing. You know, he was way too ahead of his time, so they had to fucking, and he would be ahead of his time now, you know what I mean? We've had to kill anyone that comes close to inhabiting those kind of values.
It sounds so conspiracy-y, but there's just so many examples.
Come on. Yeah. I mean, Martin Luther King, Fred Hampton, like fucking
Malcolm
Robert
X
F. Kennedy.
When he came back from Mecca.
Malcolm X, you know, JFK, you know, it's crazy, you know, the people that are like, cool, let's maybe try to live Christ's message. They had to kill JFK because he was starting to wind down the war machine, and that motherfucker was just getting going back then. They're like, hell no, we got to fucking off this guy. He's gonna fucking let Cuba just be fucking doing it, like, whatever. I could go crazy, but like, we have to kill these people. We have to, you know, they're too much of a threat to the way that we're doing things currently, because we're not there. Our current number is too low to even understand what a motherfucker like that's doing. So
yeah,
it's definitely a warning shot to anyone else, like, because people understand what's happening. You know?
Yeah. It's fucking. I was reading a thing the other day, and it really just hurt my soul that this town in Oregon has a church that's been feeding homeless people 3 meals a day and letting them park in their parking lot for years, and now the rich asshole residents are like, not in my backyard. Have you ever heard of that, NIMBY?
NIMBY, no.
It's like an attitude like, not in my backyard.
Oh.
So they're forcing the hand of this church to not serve 3 meals a day. They're saying you can only serve one, and then they're going to try to get them to not do it at all.
Only 2 days
Under
a
what
week.
grounds are they? Who's they?
The city council.
Oh, what right do they have to do that? I thought churches were like tax-free and protected, and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, but there's now they're just filing noise complaints. They're just like
loopholes.
That's the NIMBY attitude. It's like Karenism. You know what I mean? It's just like, nope, not in my backyard. So a lot of times these are people who espouse liberal values, but hold this attitude towards like, cool, but there won't be low-income housing in my neighborhood, like, because that's going to bring down my property value. Like, hey, yeah, no, I'm against homelessness and everything, but not here.
Yeah, you don't want to be connected to it at all. You just
yeah, and it's just a terrible state of mind, and you just hear about this type of stuff more and more. It's like people being legislated out of doing their natural instinct of human service, because I do feel like that's what we were put here to do. Is just serve each other and serve God. And that sounds so lame, but like to legislate people from doing that, it just feels like it's creating some nasty karma and some stuff that we're going to really have to deal with at some point.
Maybe they came here to do the opposite. So there's like half the people came to help people and serve God, or maybe not the other half, but maybe there's like just in a hidden role game of, Among Us or Secret Hitler or Resistance. Do you ever play any of those?
No.
Where murder, maybe another variant of the same game, but like you're all dealt cards, and basically everyone gets cards saying good guy, and then one person gets the card saying there's the bad guy, and the role is secret, and then the whole game is spent trying to figure out who is the bad guy, and the bad guy does things to sabotage the mission of the team, and you never know who the bad guy is, and it becomes like a trust game of a form of poker of like, no, I swear I'm innocent, and then people cast you out as the witch, and then you find out that, oh, okay, we just killed one of our own, thinking that it was a witch, but
that's what we're doing with Joe Rogan right now.
Oh, the witch hunt.
Yeah, the witch hunt is on, man. I saw this guy had to issue his second or third apology this week. I'm like, bro,
really?
They got you on the ropes, man.
I don't even know what. I just know that he's trending every day, and that there's the occasional vaccine episode with someone that is anti-vax, and then that gets blown up. But other than that, I don't know what he's even.
It's pretty nefarious. I'm not even really a Joe Rogan fan, but man, what they're doing to this guy is like really nefarious and so clearly a cover-up. And the White House is compelling Spotify to censor a voice. Like it's concerning. It's really concerning. And
do they want to take it down, or they want to just put a label on it?
One leads to the next, and they want to take him down. They want to deplatform him. They want to make it so his voice can't be out there, basically because he has too many listeners. But
if they took him off Spotify, then this point has already been made before, I'm sure.
He'll have a bigger audience somewhere else.
Yeah, and he'll get to keep the 100 million because that was not part of the deal. If you get kicked out, you still get the money. So that's
yeah. He's getting that 100 million no matter what. And people are so fucking bitter about it. They're so mad, man. And it's like one of those things. Like I love Tim Heidecker, but I have to watch this guy every day just obsess over Joe Rogan. I'm like, just do your fucking thing, man.
Oh, yeah. Shane probably beats him at it, though. But he recognizes that it's for, no, I just like to go here and vent. And he'll also clarify that, like, people read tweets as though they're being serious. But, no, I'm saying it with a big smile on my face. I'm just trying to write jokes. But, oh, man, does he tweet about the anti-vaxxers and Joe Rogan a lot?
Oh, yeah. Well, I heard him and Noah got into it a little bit.
A while back,
Yeah. So
is he still doing DMTX?
No. He's taking it easy, but he's not doing anything. But he'll be like, well, I tried a little bit of ketamine last week, and that felt good, so I might try it again in 2 days. And then, before you know it, it's like, okay, I'm getting an allergic reaction. I'm gonna stop now.
Oh wow!
But he was the guy who was signed up to do the infusion.
Oh
DMT.
Which is an interesting thing about how when people think he's such a mainstream narrative following person, part of that is, I mean, one part of it is he's like talking to scientists all day that are not like Jordan Peterson and Dr. Malone, like they're not controversial, just boring scientists from schools just to learn about stuff. So he has a bigger picture of it, but also because he's lost his mind on heavy DMTs before. So he's very well aware of thinking that everything is a synchronicity and everything is out to get him. And he knows that perspective too. But I think he defaults to a more, pragmatic, what's the word?
Rationalist.
Yeah, reductionist. Like if you can't detect it, like what good is it? Like all that stuff sounds good when you get super woo woo, but like what can you show me?
Where's
what
the
evidence do you have?
Yeah, it's easy to it's kind of confusing that I don't know. I like when I talk to my friends who are nurses or whatever, it's like so obvious that there's that this is a problem that should be taken care of, and I guess we just have different ideas about the approaches to that, and all ideas should be allowed to be heard. But sometimes it feels like people are like looking the other way when there's evidence, and just that the conspiracy has as big of a voice as something that has like a lot of data. Just poking, like this is what you say sometimes is like, oh, it's a lot easier to poke a hole in something than to have an idea for something.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like it's easier to poke a hole in the idea that the vaccine works than try to create something that actually helps people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it's probably both. It like works, and then sometimes it doesn't work. So it's not 100%.
Exactly.
And perhaps there are side effects we don't know about yet. And that's like weighing it. It's like, which is worse, the novel virus or the side effects?
Well, I got the vaccine and the virus, so I'm doubled up.
Yeah. I mean,
it's queer.
Yeah.
Oh my
we're just, I feel like we're in such like polarizing times that like everything feels like you need to take an extreme position, and it's just like, we're learning, we're all learning together what this thing is and how to best mitigate it. And I hate that I don't trust anything that has like capitalist profit motive behind it. So I question those things, but it seems like the evidence so far is the vaccine helps people like not have it as severely. Doesn't seem to stop the spread of anything.
It doesn't.
But like I'm just like open to hearing information and taking it in, and
well, that's where Joe Rogan seems like that's what he was trying to do. So first, a voice that was like an inquisitive voice, and maybe he was leaning towards like being a voice that prioritizes maybe some of the stuff that seems to go unreported. Is like that's where he becomes the threat, but it's...
Well, he's a threat. The reason that the White House would be concerned with a podcaster right now is because they don't want him broadcasting during the next couple elections.
Oh, and that's funny. He was almost the moderator between Trump and Biden.
I know.
Maybe not almost, but the fact that he was people were seriously contending for him.
Yeah,
and he was always saying like, no, I don't want to do that.
What the hell?
It was crazy when he said even like mild support of Bernie, that really seemed to be the nail in the coffin.
It sets people off because he's a challenge to the establishment, the legacy media, legacy fucking politicians, and the only plan that the current administration has to deal with this virus is vaccines. So somebody that questions that like is a serious threat to the state. And, the fact of the matter is there's tons of things we should be doing to prevent this and treat this. He talks about the whole spectrum of those things, a lot of which aren't massively profitable for pharmaceuticals. So, of course, everyone's going to come after him from every angle because who put Joe Biden in the White House? You know what I mean? Like, who did that? It was the pharmaceuticals. It was these interests. So, of course, Joe Biden's out there trying to represent those interests and make sure that voice gets shut down. And I think it should concern us all, even if we don't agree with Joe Rogan, because whatever they do to him, they're going to use as the excuse to do to us, anyone. You know what I mean? So I couldn't give a fuck about his show if he ever did an episode again, but if he got forcibly taken off by the suggestion of the White House, it's just really, it's a bad day for comedy. It's a bad day for everything,
But what if he was just back on YouTube though? Back to the point of he would just spread. He would be more.
I feel like then
they should be.
They shot themselves in the foot.
I feel like he should. I don't understand worrying about certain platforms more than other platforms. Like, oh, because it's what is going on? It's just very confusing. That you can be on one platform, you can't be on the other platform, or that Neil Young thinks it's okay to be on Amazon Prime. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is.
He's like, wait, everyone, I only want to be aligned with ethically.
Yeah, no one cared that Spotify pays their artists the worst of all the platforms, and it was all about the vaccine.
No,
episode.
he said words that offend us. It's like, don't listen. Like, it's so simple. Don't listen. If you're fighting to get artists more money from this massively profitable thing, yes, do that. Absolutely. And I heard another artist say she wants to pull her work because she doesn't like that she has to be told by the CEO of Spotify, hey, if you want to make more money, produce more work, while her money's going towards paying $100 million contract for Joe Rogan. So yeah.
Where did I put
that's something worth being mad about.
Yeah, so I can see why. Yeah, that's worth fighting for. What do you need?
Oh, I was just looking at the clock here because good.
Cool, we could wrap this fucker up.
That was great.
Not yet.
It was really good.
No, I don't want to wrap it up yet.
All right,
or we
cool.
can.
We can, but How
You're long the best. Was it?
We're about to get to 111. I'm not going to stop us before it gets to 111.
Okay.
We're at 10. We're at 110:30. So, anything you want to promote or talk about?
No. But talk about.
I'll promote your podcast as the clock strikes 111. I'll just say you and Shane, fucking great idea that you guys started doing that. I'm so glad you stuck to it. It's dope. I want to hear you talk about kinesthesiology one of these times.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that in one of the follow-up ones. I very rarely suggest topics. He always has so many topics, and then I just I'm the second. I like to chime in more than I like to plan and lead the thing, but he wants to talk about subselves and the aortic valve of the hyporpoles complex or something. And then I like to just pop in with a bad Jordan Peterson impression.
Well, you have a good one though. It's fucking incredible. I really appreciate that. You know what I wanted to ask you about, and we probably could have done a whole podcast about this, but have you ever thought of or heard about Sasquatch as an interdimensional being?
Yeah.
You've heard about that?
Yeah, it screamed at my friend once, and he was traumatized for a year.
Wow. What?
Holy shit.
It's the interdimensional Sasquatch saw him and screamed at him, and the scream pierced his soul.
Oh
what?
My God.
Where?
While he was tripping, I assume.
I don't think he was. I think he was just out at I don't know, some cabin somewhere. I don't know. He talks about it.
And he just came across a being, like a large, looking like a white giant gorilla.
Mm-hmm. And it screamed at him. That was the main part.
Wow.
I should see if I don't know if he's told it on podcasts and stuff, but maybe he has. But I can get more.
We need more information about this.
I do ask him about it, when I see him, you doing better? How's the... and never any... Because I don't know what to believe, and I think that's just as likely as if it were not that thing. There's no excluding that. What proof do you have that there isn't an interdimensional Sasquatch that can scream and shake you to the soul? But... I always want to know, well, where were you? Were you on anything? What?
Do you think it's they need the cold climate, or why would that be there? If there's beings that can interdimensionally travel,
they
might have been in Big Bear.
They go to the forests. They visit forests all over the galaxy. They're not just hanging out in our forests. They do this wherever, and
why forests?
They hang out. That's where they love it. You know what I mean? They love it.
Okay.
There's not that many people around too.
That's probably.
And when they see people, I guess they scream, and it's you do not want to catch one of those. Apparently. Yeah. You do not want to catch that Sasquatch scream in your ear.
I feel like I would be okay, but
I think I would be excited.
Yeah.
This is now the second or third person I've heard about coming across interdimensional Sasquatch, and I'm jealous every time I hear it. I'm like, fucking sounds incredible. But it also makes sense that there's sightings, but we can't find them. But then we find a fucking footprint. It makes sense to me that they're interdimensional and they just visit different forests. And they just pop down for a little bit. I'm gonna have someone on to talk more about this.
Yeah, I'm jealous of anyone with any kind of supernatural encounter.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, even if it's scary, it just makes you feel like, oh, we're living in that big of a reality, huh?
Yeah, exactly. You want to hit this?
Sure.
You can't handle it?
So you haven't had Close encounters?
No ghosts, no aliens, no Sasquatches, no goblins, no leprechauns, not even a
Not
four-leaf
yet.
clover.
Damn. I've had
Not true. One four-leaf clover.
I've
Just
had four-leaf
once.
clovers. I used to sit there and search for them.
Me too.
I mean, I grew up in the 80s. It's just like that's what they used to tell you to do.
Yeah, when I
Yeah,
played
and you do the
outfield.
cheat too, where you take you pick
Ooh.
2 of the things off a 3 and combine it with
Yeah.
a 3, and then they're like, "Show me the stem."
Yeah.
No, trust me.
I used to laminate them. If I found one, I would laminate it. And I would put the
Cute.
date when I found it and everything.
Nice.
True nerd. Yeah.
Those got to be somewhere.
All right, y'all. Well, this was a goddamn pleasure. Always fucking love doing this, man.
Right
Our
back at
favorite.
you.
Our
Thank you,
fucking
Ramin.
favorite.
Thank you so much. I look forward to the next one, and
Yeah.
it's nice to have this catalog of conversations throughout the years. Like,
Yeah.
here's how we were in 2018 or
Yeah.
whatever the first one is. Here's us through the pandemic, through the Zoom that's like shaky.
Through
Oh,
our
yeah.
nitrous phase, through our zoomy shaky times.
Let's be slimy businessmen for whatever this decade is, and then like we come out of that. It's like I learned it's not all about the money.
Yeah.
It's about helping people, and now I want to use the money I've wormed to help people.
Yeah.
Because you can't help people with $5. $5 sucks.
Yeah.
We got to make more than $5. Let's vow right now.
Yeah, let's
As
do
we speak to you today, we're gonna make more than $5.
That's the prayer moving forward is that like we figure out how to make more than $5. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. 500,000.
We'll try to earn it.
That's
Oh
what I need.
yeah, $250 each. That's not bad.
Yeah, but yeah, we got that.
Yeah.
The number that keeps coming into my head when I'm like slipping to sleep or whatever, and it's like the universe is like, "Hey, you need anything before we slip off?" I'm like, $650,000.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like we're gonna find a house or something that costs that much. I don't know why that number comes into my head. Like
It's a
that's
great
what's gonna
number.
cost to get the house that is the church that leads to what the next couple decades will feel like for us.
And you get to say like, "Oh, you doing well?" It's like, "Well, I'm not a millionaire, but
Yeah.
yeah, I guess we're doing all right."
No
And you
millionaire.
can have 900K.
Yeah.
I'm not
yeah.
a millionaire, but
Yeah, I'm just one of you.
yeah.
I'm just a person. Cool. Awesome.
Thanks, Ramin.
Peace, love, and magic.